You're listening to The Burning Truth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Burning Truth. I am Matt Burns. And
he was about to say, I am live.
No.
If you can see his expressions, he was just about to go, ladies and gentlemen, and I am alive.
Alive! Love, baby. No.
I'm Matt Burns.
I'm daily and slightly confused. Anyway, I am Matt Burns, not Matthew Burns, not Chewy or anything. I am Matt Burns. Across from me is the man.
Matthew.
What?
Matthew Burns.
Matthew Burns is okay, but I just prefer Matt Burns. Anyway, back to you. Across from me is the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Goff.
Hello.
And we also may actually have a special guest around.
Oh no, he's comatose. He is absolutely comatose. He's been killed. He's in a food coma.
You might hear a few moans, a few belly aches.
He is food comed.
Okay.
He decided to take on the Destroyer of Worlds mantle, and instead all he's done is destroy his own insides.
Takes a lot to keep up.
Choose why I don't try. I know my limits, I stick to my limits. Some people, just want to try tug on Superman's cape. And
Spit into the wind.
Yeah, and they get slapped.
Pretty much.
So interesting week. Next week, there won't be an episode on Saturday, as we're in Wrestle Island.
That we are.
Well, I say in Wrestle Island, we are at Wrestle Island. No, we're not going over to Guinness Land.
We're not flying. It's in the UK. Don't worry.
Our expenses don't cover that. Not yet.
Not yet. But if it ever does, we'll let you know.
But no, so we're at Wrestle Island. So next week we've got a chance to catch up with someone who you're very well acquainted with.
Yes.
Which is Bubblegum.
Bubblegum.
Who is wrestling.
He is wrestling on the show and is a phenomenal worker. He's actually wrestled all across the UK and has even wrestled for Wrestling Noah.
Yeah.
While they were in the UK and everything. Which is, just to set the bar. The guy knows how to be loved by many thousands, and also know how to quickly get them to hate him.
Yeah, he's one of your most favourite people who you haven't wrestled against yet.
It is, and he is somebody I've known for years, but I've always it's great knowing the guy. Fantastic worker, fantastic human being. But as some might consider, they might actually wonder, is he actually just a rascal?
Also, there is the Bevieweight.
The Bevieweight is, which he'll be defending his UKWA championship. There, if I'm not mistaken, against a former tag team partner.
Yes.
Which he supposedly turned against.
Yes.
At Wrestle Island.
So the Bevieweights there, among many others, so it should be a good day. Information is on Facebook. You can go to Wrestle Island's Facebook page to find out all ticket prices and contacts.
All ticket prices, matches, content and everything, which we do actually highly recommend. If I'm not mistaken, they were also wrestling on the same night as 5 Star Wrestling. However, 5 Star Wrestling have supposedly had to cancel.
Yes.
So it's a great alternative. They stated the show that's always on, always fun, and if you fancy, with this cancellation of 5 Star Wrestling, if you fancy giving Wrestle Island a shot, check them out, give them a look.
Yeah. So that's happening next week. In the interim, we were at FCW last week.
Yes, we were.
On the Sunday, which was a great day out by all.
It was.
You and the food comed baby over there enjoyed your barbecue outside, while I enjoyed my ice cream and seafood.
You had your prawns?
And cockles.
Ah, you did.
Just a shame there was no squid.
Oh, how can you forget the squid?
He just doesn't do squid, you know. Squid's quite nice, quite chewy.
You had to somehow bring that in.
But no, so that's quite decent. Matches on there, some pretty good standard matches. Big Rich, who we had the pleasure of interviewing about 3 weeks ago now.
About that.
He made his debut
Whew.
at FCW.
What a debut that was.
Very, very powerful.
Spoke volumes.
One of the meanest choke slams I have ever seen.
As soon as I saw the slam, I thought to myself, does that guy have a family? And then it was like, straight after with the big elbow drop following after, it was like, if you did, you just lost him.
Yeah, mean choke slam, you know. I thought you were going to have to go in there and give him the chop of life.
Hand was at the ready. Hand was at the ready.
But no, so Big Rich made his debut. Congratulations to him. Any means necessary seems to be the motto he's going down at the moment. But
it is. And
however, very solid debut.
However,
and a big match set up for the next.
That it is against, if I'm not mistaken, Mark Hogan.
Yes, who was on the receiving end of a loss that night.
That he was.
So he'll be looking to bounce back against Big Rich.
The question is who's got the power gain?
Big Rich got the size and power. Has Mark Hogan got the speed?
Potentially, but he's also got the experience as well. So we'll have more information on that at their next show, which is, if I'm not mistaken, June 25th.
Yes, it is June 25th.
In their usual spot in Baggeridge.
Gornal.
Gornal, Baggeridge. Yeah, in Gornal, not Cornwall. Gornal.
We also saw.
Go on.
Danny Devine's faction.
Yes, the Metro Club.
Or Spandu Ballet. Gold. But no, so the Metro Club, which is Christopher Drew, sporting a nice little love print on his chest.
I have no idea what you're on about.
Obviously, Danny Devine and his balls.
Of course.
And the Pro Wrestling Subjective Champion, Jesse Jones.
Correct.
It's a steady threesome.
Steady, but there's normally 4.
And who was the 4th one?
Normally, he wrestles normally at other companies as Danny. I'm just trying to think of his name. Danny Valentine.
Danny Valentine?
Danny Valentine is normally wrestles there, but he go no. Danny Valentine. You're thinking about Steve Valentino. No, different people. But it's quite interesting. But he sometimes has a bit of a name switch for that area. He sort of goes under a much more darker persona.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to show possibly his evil side.
Yeah.
His twisted side.
So that's been quite decent happening this week. British wrestling. It's on the recovery. Some big stuff coming up. So obviously we've got Wrestle Ireland, and then over the next 4 or 5 months, you've also got Academy. You've got FCW again next month.
That we do.
We've got Venom.
We should be having Venom, yeah.
So there's some big shows coming up.
That there is. However, folks, I have got some news to tell you for this month. Is it this month?
No, next month. I won't be here for most of next month.
Is it next month? Right. So next month, he's got to break my heart.
Well, it's for 1 week this month, and then most of next month.
Yeah. He's got to break our hearts and go away and leave me all by myself.
Yeah, I've decided I've had enough of Matt Burns. It wasn't me, it was him.
So if anybody wants to go around and start singing, all by myself. I'll be very cross with you.
But the thing I'm disappointed about is who I hear you've rumoured to replace me with.
Who?
Someone you can beat on. You know, he came across to me last week and he went, have you got any tips for handling? Have you got any tips for handling Matt Burns? He went, because all he does is chop me. And I'm fed up of him chopping me.
I never touched the sound guy.
I'm not on about the sound guy.
Oh.
Chris Drew, you replace me with that Neanderthal, chauvinistic, souped up arsehole.
I never said I replaced you with him. I'm not the one who picked him. You picked him.
No, I didn't. You picked him.
No,
You want someone who you can slap around.
Whoa, whoa. Hang on. Let's just come to a conclusion. You've been told I picked him, and I've been told you picked him.
This is professional organisation, folks.
Wait, I think Drew's pulling a fast one here.
He picked him.
Or he picked him. Yeah.
He picked him.
That would be you. You know, the guy who's meant to be doing assistance. If I'm not mistaken, Loverboy.
No, also, Martin will be here covering some of the things while I'm not here. I think it'll be about 4 weeks out of 5 where I will not be here. I might pop in quickly on Skype, depending if I'm sober enough to work my phone.
Translation: he'll be having a fun time, but we hope you enjoy yourself while you're away.
It's my 4 stag do tour in 5 weeks. My liver's going to be dead.
It's more likely going to be a tour de force.
I'm doing Spain, the Isle of Man. I'm Captain America as well for a weekend.
I may have to prolong we may have to replace you because I'm actually wondering if you're going to survive.
I'll survive. I don't know about everyone else.
Marvel budgeting's just going down, bank.
I'd make a great Captain America.
Good lord.
You can't stand the place.
You'd make a great Captain America.
Yeah, I would be the answer of what had happened if Captain America had nothing but kebabs for about 5 years.
You're not even American.
Well, neither is he.
That's a blessing.
He's from Marvel.
But the character's based... Oh, good lord. Folks, I may have to show my inner geekness and open a can of geek whop ass on him.
Well, technically, he's from a comic book page,
Yes,
which is
he
printed all around the world.
Yes,
so
it
technically,
is. Yes,
it
it
can be
is.
from wherever you purchase the comic from, or the DVD. So, my version of Captain America is from Amazon.
No comment. All I'll say is, very vivid imagination for your answers.
He's got a bit of Chris Evans in him, actually, by the looks.
Oh, please don't.
It's the eyes.
Please don't.
No, so you've got some special guests lined up that are going to contribute while I'm away. I'm going to try Skype in, probably while I'm in the Isle of Man.
If he's surviving.
I won't be able to Skype in from Spain because that'll just cost too much from both ends.
It's not that it'll cost too much, it's more or less of getting the signal.
So the Isle of Man seems a safe bet.
Potentially.
Because I'm also there for business, not just pleasure.
Did I miss something here?
I do have a day job.
Oh.
You know, I don't just get paid to wrestle and to post on Facebook.
You don't wrestle?
Don't.
How many pinfall victories have I got?
None. Not in a squared circle.
Not in a squared ring.
Not in a squared circle. Not in a wrestling ring. You can say that all you want. You're nothing but a cheap shot master. I'm pretty sure a few people could say that. However, one of them did deserve it.
But no, so moving on from your bitterness, because it just stinks of like Nigel McGuinness syndrome over here.
Oh, look
So-
at you, bringing the old classics back,
So
memories.
moving on. TNA.
DNA.
What the fuck is happening to that clusterfuck that they call a wrestling company?
They're trying to break into India.
They can try to break into India all they want.
Yes.
WWE have had a better chance of breaking into India since they've put one of their superstars as world champion. We'll cover Jinder Mahal.
Please don't
Very short.
don't make me break.
So, let's cover TNA first. So, you have got Hive. Is Hive like an So, right. Let's go back to about 3-4 weeks ago. So, Decay has now decayed. Joseph Parks has now took control of Abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's the woman's name out of Decay?
Can't remember.
No. But she's in a storyline with someone that was supposed to be absolutely batshit crazy and now she's gone back to normal. Ali.
No, Ali wasn't the one that went crazy.
Which one went batshit crazy?
Somebody else went crazy.
But I feel like TNA is losing its marbles a little bit. It's like Vince Russo, Dutch Mantel and Jeff Jarrett have all sat in a room and gone, what's the craziest shit we can come together?
Never mind, Russo.
Rosemary. So it's Rosemary and Ali. So you got Rosemary watching over Ali at the moment,
Yep.
which could lead to either Ali joining the Hive or Rosemary turning normal. They are the two possible outcomes of this storyline.
Wait. There's a difference though. There's not just Rosemary, who's the Impact Wrestling Knockout Championship. You've also got the GFW Women's Champion, Sienna. So they essentially got two women's championships on the same show.
Yeah, but they've also got two heavyweight champions at the moment, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
On one show.
On one show. Which is
Two
Impact.
mid-card champions on one show as well.
Yep. But you got the Impact Grand Championship, which is Moose. Oh no, three actually.
Who's the GFW TV champion?
No, it's not TV. It's the GF Next Gen Champion, which
Yeah.
is Cody.
And then who's the X Division champion?
Sanjay Dutt.
And haven't they got like a
Hang on,
GFW
whoa.
light heavyweight?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to apologise. It's not Sanjay Dutt yet.
No, it's still
Loki. So I do apologise for the spoiler alert.
Have they got like a GFW light heavyweight championship?
Nope, they just have the global and the tag team.
Okay.
Global championship belonging to Alberto El Patron.
Yeah. And who does the main one belong to? Is that
Lashley.
Lashley? Okay.
That would be Lashley. And the tag teams is the Latin American Exchange,
Yes.
who own the Impact and the GFW.
Yeah. See, I don't mind that. I don't mind if one team or person owns both belts, because eventually they can just
For
merge them.
God's sake, do apologise once again. Spoiler alert.
Do you like spoiling things for people?
It's not my fault.
Matthew Spoiler Burns,
It's not my fault.
and now you're going to Snitsky.
Right. I'm sorry. It's not my fault that Impact Wrestling decided to tape that far ahead.
So, have you got any updates on the ongoing potential lawsuit that could be seen from TNA?
Which one?
Which one?
The Hardys.
Right. The Hardy one's been going back and forth, but supposedly there's been some talk of trying to get it all sorted.
Mediation.
But some mediation going back and forth. You got
I don't get what Impact Wrestling gets out of trying to pretend that they own the broken gimmick.
technically, it's supposedly Jeremy Borash was the one who came up with the idea.
But it was portrayed, and half of the creative ideas.
They are stating that because they were the ones who televised it first, and technically one of their employees created it and whatnot, it's under their jurisdiction and their copyright.
So, haven't they broken employment laws by not giving Senor Benjamin a contract?
That's one. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't they actually in trouble for actually posting Matt Hardy's actual contract
They
globally?
posted?
Yes, they did.
Right.
They actually revealed certain details of their of Matt Hardy's contract.
The whole thing's a bit of a joke anyway, because Matt Hardy was doing YouTube videos as the broken gimmick way before he brought it onto TNA.
No, but Matt Hardy wasn't actually broken then. He was sort of just throwing.
Breaking.
Yeah, the
He was.
idea at it.
He
yeah.
wasn't breaking. He was just throwing stuff at the fan and seeing what splurted off and stuck to the wall.
It's,
Pretty much. As you famously coined in the past,
If you throw enough shit at the wall, something will stick.
something's bound to stick.
But no. But like, from my point of view, TNA, yes, they may have come up with part of the gimmick, but they didn't have the right contract to put Baby Hardy on television.
Nope.
Matt and Jeff financially gave their mansion
Yeah.
for part of the gimmick.
Yeah.
Didn't charge TNA to do that.
did an entire show on it.
Yep.
And also, they didn't give contracts to Senor Benjamin, nor Baby Hardy,
Yes.
for their likeness. So therefore,
Technically,
I suppose there could be a cease and desist until the court, if there is, goes court.
which is why at the moment we've got that in between thing with Matt Hardy. At the moment, he's showing signs of he's doing the hand gesture, but he's not actually saying it. Letting the crowd do the same, because if the crowd say it, doesn't matter. But the funny thing about it is, whoever whoever owns the gimmick, right? Which personally, a lot of people can turn around and say, "Oh, he owns the right to it," but it's sort of like how they're trying to use how they use television contracts, stating that if you've got a character, whoever first debuted that character actually owns that character. So because they're trying to state that they are entertainment, not wrestling, which
I suppose it goes back to an interesting story that Jim Cornette used to talk about,
Yes.
which is the Johnny B. Bad
oh
story. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with who Johnny B. Bad is, it's
Yep.
actually Mark Merrow.
Mark Merrow
And
from
all's
when he was at WWE, it was Mark Merrow.
and
Anywhere else,
WCW.
and WCW was Johnny B. Bad, or in TNA Johnny B. Bad.
Was he in TNA?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, okay, well that's fine. So, all's Mark Merrow knew how to do was portray Johnny B. Bad.
Yep.
Because that was the gimmick he'd been brought up with. He'd learnt all the mannerisms for, and that's what he could portray. When he came to WWF at the time, because they didn't acquire the rights to the gimmick, they had to change the whole persona, which is why half of it failed, because yes, he may have had an attractive woman on his arm, but
Well, they were supposedly meant to be introducing him his real self, and using the attractiveness of a lovely woman to further his gimmick. Instead, he ended up being
boring.
boring in the eye candy. Well, supposedly the assistants to the eye candy.
You could wrestle better than he could.
Well, she couldn't wrestle better than
He
he
couldn't
could.
wrestle better than he
Pulled
could.
off that powerbomb better.
No, he went for the powerbomb, which is why Steve Austin refused to fight Mero in the main event of a televised segment.
Yeah.
Straight after, yeah.
Called up
Refused
Vince.
it. No, he literally called him up and refused, saying,
Because it's supposed to be the week after. Mero was supposed to face Austin in the main event,
And-
and he went, well, no son of a bitch alive is going to believe that arsehole can be me now. He's just been powerbombed by a woman.
and pinned. Well done, you just killed him.
But Sable was one of the worst wrestlers at the time to grace the women's division because she put no time in it. She was brilliant for what she was, which at the time was a mainstream revenue attraction. She branched out to Playboy. She got outsiders looking in.
She
I've got to
did.
give him that. He said that very well.
No. I'm actually agreeing with him.
But she was not a wrestler. She didn't want to learn. She had no intention of learning. And you can tell by her matches.
You could.
You would be better off in a match than she is.
And let me just state for the record, he doesn't mean Matt Burns. He means Loverboy.
Oh no, fucking Sable's better than Matt Burns.
Oh,
Have you seen that? Have you seen that cunt wrestle?
Way better than you.
But no, and it doesn't help that half the women at the time, all they were used for was eye candy. So they weren't asked to train, they were just asked to wear as little as possible to get male attention. Look at Deborah. Deborah's sole purpose between 98 and 99 was to let the puppies loose.
It's kind of saying a lot about Brock Lesnar. Hiya, Brock. Don't hurt me.
Well,
I'm not. You just figured out why I've been staying quiet for the whole purpose, haven't you?
so Deborah was there between 98 and 99 for male attraction points. They even brought in BB. For those of you that aren't familiar with what BB is, go YouTube BB's career highlights.
Highlights.
One of them will be a part of a match between Hardcore Holly and Val Venus. Round about Christmas 99.
Please, let the pain stop.
Who else was around during that point? Sonny. We all know how Sonny went with the Legion of Doom.
Well, she was with a few teams before.
But,
The Bonnie Donners.
yeah, was
You mean
she...
professionally?
Sonny has admitted that she's only slept with she didn't sleep with a handful of wrestlers. She was just up all night with them. And it led to Brett having some sunny days, followed by
Shawn Michaels having sunny days.
and British Bulldog having some sunny days.
I'm not continuing on.
Poor Chris Candido. No gimmicks needed. Sonny was just a slut.
Was it someone bought a Hall of Fame ring? I bet they were.
No, she tried to pawn it on
tried to
Pawn
pawn
Stars.
it.
So Pawn
On-
Stars was the American TV show,
Yeah.
and she tried to pawn it on there. What else was? Who else was around at that time? Terry
Tori.
could wrestle, but they didn't want her there.
Ivory.
Right. So you bought the interesting one up, Tori.
Oh, good lord.
Right. Now explain this to me. Between sort of September 99 and March 2000, during that 6 months, you had a woman that could wrestle, didn't wrestle that much. What's up with that?
Oh, Vince.
How you doing?
Maybe they were just SAWFT. Soft.
But I don't understand that. And if you look at where they put titles at the times for the women's division,
Yeah.
so they had Tori, Ivory, Jacqueline at
Jacqueline.
that time towards the end of '99
Good
coming
wrestler.
through. Holly came into the late 2000s. think.
Who invented quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But no, so after 2000, the women's division got a lot better. But at the time, they were putting the belt on Miss Kitty.
Oh, don't even get started.
The
on that.
Fabulous Moolah had a run with the belt in
Don't even get me
1999.
started.
Harvey Winkleman had a run with the Women's Championship in 1999. What better way to take a giant shit on your division at the time? Santino didn't even have a run with the belt. He just had a WrestleMania 25 Battle Royal given to him.
Matt Burns is next.
Sonya Jackson.
Sorry, alter ego.
Sonia Burns.
Coming from you, Martina.
But no,
All hail Princess Martina.
I just don't understand at that standpoint of where they were at the time, why they haven't.
They may not have had the at the time they didn't have the right perspective of women's wrestling. They didn't think that they might not have wanted. They wanted to put the main focus on the men wrestling. Didn't know if most of the women could wrestle and whatnot. They already had a main focus on where they wanted a plan and everything. And at the time, it didn't suit the women's wrestling, which is quite a bit of a shame. But at the moment now, we're at a point now where we don't see all that stuff now. We're now actually seeing matches.
I'm going to talk about a very sore subject, but in 18 years, how perception has changed. So, imagine, today, we're at the peak of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Sex tape has just been released of, say, Sable. Would Vince McMahon try to hide it if this was the Attitude Era?
No, God, no.
Oh no.
He'd be claiming royalties.
Right.
He'd say she's under contract. She can't air on any video or television footage.
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't.
He'd put that son of a bitch on television.
He'd probably show a clip at least, or at least a screenshot.
And he'd be like, we have got the hottest women on TV.
Just look at this.
Which is probably what they went around about the Ruthless Aggression era.
Potentially.
Which is what Taz was saying, the hottest females on TV. But, so, whereas now, you see all these videos of, because the women are miles more athletically gifted, the division's a lot more competitive than it was 18 years ago.
Yep.
But, social media's a lot more active than it was 18 years ago.
That it is.
So, if
Massively.
social media was around 18 years ago, would that have pushed the women to a new level? If what had happened now had happened 18 years ago?
Or would it have not have actually progressed the wrestling, just made them stay where they were?
It's a double-edged sword because nowadays everyone gets buttered over everything. Back in those days, everyone was loving that stuff. So
It would either push them to do more of it, which meant that women wrestling could have been held back, potentially.
give them
ECW
the chance.
did a very interesting thing.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I know exactly where you're going with this. If I'm not mistaken, you're about to mention the infamous story of when the ring broke, aren't you?
Yes.
Continue.
So, he doesn't actually know this one. So this is brilliant. So
I know this one, but Loverboy doesn't.
So we had Katsumi. I think that was the name, isn't it?
Katsumi.
Yeah, from Raven's Flock.
Nope.
She was part of the Raven's Flock at the time,
Don't
wasn't she?
think she was. She was more linked with the franchise.
Was she? Oh, right, okay. So the ringer broke and they needed a diversion.
A diversion. Think about this. That word.
To keep the people
entertained,
there, but also to shift attention from the ring being broke. So, Paul Heyman goes up to Devon and Shane Douglas and went, we need a distraction. And this is Paul Heyman. This is the mastermind of...
in all his former glory.
Yeah.
right?
This is... I could talk anyone into doing anything I want. And they asked Katsumi if she could keep...
Oh, no. They didn't ask her. That's the shocking thing. They were actually after, and someone just goes, why don't you send one of the girls out? And Kasumi actually offered
because
to
she
go
was
out.
a lap dancer.
Because she was a stage performer. A certain stage performer of a certain variety. All of a sudden, it's like, will this work? Will it work? I think that was the closest that the entire locker room had slammed against a certain wall to be involved.
Yeah, it took longer for the ring to be repaired because all the wrestlers were just there in the peephole. It was like the biggest glory line you've ever seen.
They decided to put her on the stage, which is focus away from the ring.
Like once a step, it was like a hard camera stage.
Hard camera stage, yeah. And she went out there
And stripped.
and did a strip dance.
And she got all the way down to...
Pretty much next to nothing.
Yeah.
I think I see where this is going.
Right?
And no one asked for a refund.
Nobody asked for a refund for the ring breaking. Nobody. If I'm not mistaken,
They all stayed
didn't
there.
they boo when she left the stage?
Yeah. But another example of ECW being ahead of the times and actually exploiting what was available for them, they actually had the most popular porn star at the time. So this was their answer to Sonny and Stable. They brought in the
Jenna Jameson.
Joanna Jameson to work with the Dudley Boys
No,
as the Dudley Boys' valet.
As a valet, #1 porn star. Where did the funding come from? I think.
Favors from
Wait. I think him was just thinking, "They're guys. I'm gonna have to take the cash. It's probably gonna be sweaty. Nothing more." That's all I'm
But
saying.
she did all the heel work that they wanted.
Everything, professional and everything, spot on.
So, I just think there's, like, where we are now, we're too politically correct. Like, people have got to realise these people are human beings. Yes, they're going to want to fuck. If they want to film it, that's their own right. You know? If they want to put it on the internet, they put it on themselves. We shouldn't put it on for them. But there's no point
Yeah.
looking at where it is. You know, shit happens. We're all genetically made to want to go that way.
Basically, what you're saying is, we're all human. We all have needs.
Yeah, but at times, if it does get put out, why not? If Paul Heyman was in charge and ECW was still going, that'd be used and that'd be ratings.
Good Lord, I wouldn't want to even think about Paul Heyman if he had full control of the company.
And WWE wouldn't be in the shithole it's in now.
It would, because Paul Heyman probably
Actually, yeah,
wouldn't
he
be
would.
with them.
It wouldn't.
WWE would still be a juggernaut because it's moved with the times.
It has.
But Paul Heyman's always had the best of being able to make the most out of a niche.
Exactly. And he knew exactly how to push the right buttons to incite somebody to do something amazing. He knew exactly what to say to them. It's like how everybody says, "Oh, you had to drink out the Kool-Aid and everything." But it wasn't just like that. He somehow did it. He could probably do without talking. He knew exactly how to. He knew exactly how to butter somebody up.
Yeah,
as
and he
you say.
listened to his fan base.
And he listened to his fan base. He always tried to put his finger on the pulse and hear them out.
But no, so that's an interesting topic on that. So let's have a quick recap of WWE.
Where do we begin?
We're going to have to cover the subject that I know you want to avoid.
Which one?
Jinder Mahal.
I'm fine with Jinder Mahal. Absolutely fine with it. Got no problem with it. I actually think,
I actually think it's really good.
I think it's good.
I think it's a bit quick. He deserved the proper build, but I'm happy that they've given someone
If I'm not
a
mistaken,
push.
somebody in what culture heavily disagrees that Jinder Mahal, as I quoted, a fucking joke, if I'm not mistaken, as he called it. Yes, you could say that, but answer me this. At the time, you've got somebody, they're needing new people because the current people who are there
Drafted over to Raw.
are either drafted over to Raw or the main guy has got 2 strikes. So one more strike and he's gone. So when that person does go,
Are you on about Orton?
yes,
His
who
strikes
else?
have been rescinded.
It doesn't matter even if they've been rescinded or not. If he got injured again,
Well, they've got Cena to come back.
They're relying on him too much. But who there is a top heel right now,
Corbin.
other than Corbin? One heel. One heel to carry to that flagship. As much
Kevin
as
Owens.
US champ, too busy.
You asked who was a heel.
Yes, I did, but answer me this. Top number 1 star heel. I agree that Kevin Owens is a top star heel, 100%. No,
Styles.
not a heel anymore.
Yes, he is.
No,
So
he
battle
isn't.
of tweeners.
He's a face.
Tweener.
Face.
Tweener.
He's getting cheered from the crowd.
He's getting cheered because Kevin Owens is doing a good job of being an arsehole.
He's a face because he's facing Kevin Owens. He's got over. He's a face. Point. Really? As soon as he turns around, he is, the man.
Dolph Ziggler is a heel.
Really?
Yes, he is. But can you see him carrying the flagship?
If given the chance.
Again, no. I don't think they will. I don't think they will because the second... how many times has he had the belt? How many times?
He's only been a 2-time world champion.
2-time world champ.
He didn't really get a push he deserved.
No. And one of them, he got injured to a head injury. WWE don't trust him because of the way he bumps. They don't trust him enough because he bumps too well. Because he bumps to the point where he can accidentally give himself concussions. And as much as I think that's a shame, I'm not disagreeing with you that he couldn't be a top star. WWE won't see him that way at all, and that has been proven time and time again. How long did he hold one of the titles before? When he won it off Alberto Del Rio, and then all of a sudden, head injury, kick to the head, 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, I totally understand where you're coming from.
This is the point of what I'm on about. With him, they pretty much straight to the top, injury. All right, instead of thinking he's injured, have him come back, trying to fight for that title. Come back, welcome home hero. No, we'll just put him down. Nothing. He hasn't done. At one point he held the Intercontinental title. Had a fantastic match against The Miz. In a match where if he lost, he just basically lost his career. Phenomenal. And how long did it take for Miz to get his title back? Not very long. WWE management do not trust Ziggler at the moment. Because they think he's too accident prone because of the way he bumps. Because look at how quickly he has a championship and how quickly he loses it.
I think SmackDown could do with Bobby Roode.
Yeah, they need someone like Bobby Roode. Definitely. Top
Roode,
star.
not Roode.
Rude. Right, there you go.
Bobby
Roode. Just to be clear, a Tommaso Ciampa. No spoilers there. At all, and that's not a spoiler, because he already has turned heel. He'd be good there. Good worker. Fantastic. But straight away, I think the fact that they pushed Jinder Mahal, but they haven't just pushed him, they pushed him at the right time. Someone could say, they're just pushing him for the Indian market and everything. Now,
that is the right time.
It is the right time.
You've got India 6 or 6 India.
Yeah.
I forget how it's pronounced. So they're in process of renewing all the deals. So TNA was actually the market leader in India at one point, but WWE has actually seen the gap. Which is why he's there. It's like in China. They've got, what's his name from China? In NXT.
Yep.
And that's another emerging market that they're trying to break into. If you got the network in them 2 countries, the results could be massive.
Exactly. And
haven't they also got one, Halfpreet Singh or something as well, who fingered 2 countries wing. What's one of the trainers in the performance centre? Zia's dad. Zia's dad.
Bobby Brookside.
Yeah.
Well, if they ever actually get fully sorted in China, at least Shane can help them out with the network.
Well, technically, he actually owns part of the network over there.
No, he doesn't.
Well,
he
he
sold
did.
it.
He sold it.
Did he?
Yeah, he sold it.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's into the V?
I thought Slady going behind.
No, he
moved
sold his shares in it.
Ah.
The reason he left is because he wanted to prove to Vince that he could actually do things on his own.
Which he
Yeah.
has done.
Yeah.
Because their relationship, it wasn't bad, but it was...
It was rocky.
Oh no, I actually meant in the network company
They-
Shane's got in China.
No, so
No.
so what Shane had was actually shares in a YouTube-style company.
Yeah. That's what
It
was.
wasn't a network,
Not-
one to TV network. It was like
No,
a...
it's a cable company.
No,
No.
it was the Chinese version
Chinese
of
version
YouTube.
of YouTube. Yes, it was. He's right.
There you go. Never believe everything that you read on the internet.
And
Always factual.
when he came back, he left his role as CEO. In this,
No, it wouldn't see. I think it was,
or it
was
was
quite
the chief
high.
operating officer. He could have been
Yeah.
a COO of this company, and he left it and he sold what he had so he could come back to WWE because he'd proven that if he wanted to, he could
He
stay
could.
and build something.
he could venture out on his own and do his own thing if he wanted to.
Which is why you will probably see in the next 4 or 5 years a power struggle between
The
not
kids.
Shane and Stephanie, between Triple H and Shane.
Yeah.
Because Triple H has built NXT from the ground up.
Exactly. And a lot of people are going to be saying, well, who should get the first right to it? Some people will say Triple H should, but then again, Shane McMahon is Vince's
Whereas Triple H is only the son-in-law.
son-in-law. But
I honestly believe they should do like a three-part split.
yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Or potentially a 4-part split, because if you have Triple H and Stephanie only 33% each, it'll just drive Shane mad, because if he don't agree with them,
They'll just they'll just overpower
so
him.
they need a 4th partner, or they need a way of actually agreeing, because Triple H is good with the wrestling part of it. He knows what the performers need. He's building the coaching centre up. So at the moment, at the coaching performance centre, in the last couple of weeks, you've had a laundry blaze,
Also known as Medusa.
and you've also had one half of the Midnight Express.
Yeah. You've
They're
got
coaching. You've got Shawn Michaels as the finishing coach.
Yep. Basically, when you're ready to be put onto the big leagues, onto the big stage,
Shawn Michaels
is
comes
the
in,
one
spends 6 weeks with you, and he teaches you the final things that you need.
you know, the
So-
finishing touches.
One of the people that's spending some time with Shawn Michaels at the moment is Bobby Roode. He's spent time with Triple H. Now he's spending some time with Shawn Michaels. Nakamura spent time with Shawn Michaels.
And he's doing quite well. He's doing quite well. He's literally on SmackDown.
But he's a special attraction as well, which is what's nice.
Yeah. And he is. He's a special attraction. And it's amazing.
But he's also being used to cracking the Japanese market.
But he is. Which some people might say, well, that's not right, because he's a wrestler and everything. But here's the thing. Did they,
Nakamura v Styles, WrestleMania next year, will sell out the Japanese market,
guaranteed.
as well as the European and American market.
Guaranteed. And if people want to know, will that work?
I'll just go watch some
New
of
Japan.
the New Japan stuff.
Stuff
It's
that'd be
amazing.
dead. When you had AJ Styles versus Nakamura. My God, it was amazing. Awesome match. And this is when, if I'm not mistaken, AJ Styles was part of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. But no, so some good stuff that could happen, but it's going to be a hard time for SmackDown. The women's division's looking quite strong with Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Natalya on there,
Yeah.
and Naomi. So that's looking quite strong with Tamina as well.
This is what I find unfair with the whole brand split. And this is what annoys me. But I'm also proud of SmackDown for. Raw will take all the top superstars. Oh, we'll have him. We'll have
SmackDown's
him.
the land of opportunity. SmackDown will build your stars.
SmackDown has
Raw
always been.
exposes the weaker.
Yes, it does. But here's the thing. Answer me this: can you name me some wrestlers who, through SmackDown, ended up going from mid card to main event?
Miz.
There's
Miz
one.
re-established himself through
Miz.
SmackDown.
Oh yeah, through SmackDown.
Bray Wyatt
Bray Wyatt.
re-established himself. So it's a land of opportunity, but also it gives you space to re-establish
Yep.
what you can do.
Who else?
On SmackDown, you had JBL, who became from a
Well,
mid-card.
John Bradshaw.
Yeah,
Well,
To a
Bradshaw
legend.
to JBL, which nobody thought, oh, this is not going to work. Oh wait, it did.
Mr. Kennedy became a big player because of SmackDown.
Potentially, yes, he did. Anybody else?
Heidenreich was a big player until he got moved to Raw in a force.
Yeah, pretty much. And you ready for another name?
Go on.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, you could argue Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar got his push from SmackDown,
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Brock Lesnar debuted on Raw,
and then
but
swapped.
then when he won the championship, it became exclusive to SmackDown.
Stephanie nicked him.
Yes, potentially nicked him, and that was the funny thing about it. They made stars on SmackDown. You know, you had Kurt Angle who was pushing Brock
Edge.
Lesnar. Edge, who went from a mid-card status to a main event status. But then again, if you think about it, Edge did become a star on Raw initially. He did.
Hmm. It's debatable.
Well, if you think about it, his feud with Matt Hardy started on Raw.
Yeah, but his feuds with The Undertaker, Batista.
No, but his more known matches are from SmackDown.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Raw just isn't utilising the rest.
Are you ready for another wrestler who reached main event status on SmackDown? Anybody know of Jeff Hardy?
Jeff Hardy, and I'm going to argue this, got hits from Raw.
You think?
The title match against The Undertaker, TLC.
Potentially, but if you think about it, he won his first title on SmackDown. Also, another wrestler who branched out and won his first championship on, or technically won it on Raw, but he won the SmackDown belt on SmackDown. No, it's a SmackDown belt, but he technically won it on Raw, but it's a SmackDown championship. A guy who was actually left wrestling, probably won't return to WWE, got his ass handed to him in UFC. CM Punk.
I suppose you can argue for Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio. Big, yeah, clearly. Definitely.
Even though Rey
Booker
Mysterio...
T.
So, Loverboy's looking at me going, Rey Mysterio's already a household name across the world.
He
He wasn't a world champion.
Until
And in all fairness, the situation which he became world champion under, would that have happened if that unfortunate event hadn't? I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm kind of thinking, Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker, that was on SmackDown.
No, it wasn't.
On Raw. In case you want.
Undertaker was the American Badass and
yes,
he was on SmackDown.
He wasn't the American Badass.
He
was Dead Man Inc.
Dead Man
I
Inc.
think, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Not. No,
And it was on Raw
it was on Raw. Ladder match.
because he picked him up and shook his hand
Yes.
instead of putting him in
Show of respect.
Yeah.
the guillotine, the chair guillotine, as he had with so many others before.
Yes. Correct.
That's why that will always be one classic match.
And that was the launching pad for Jeff Hardy.
A potential launching pad, but he didn't actually get his actual big break to become a main champion
No,
until.
to answer your question on why people aren't built up on Raw, apart from if your name's Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns, it's because it's too oversaturated. There's too much time, and the writers get brain fucks.
No, they just assume with it being the flagship that
It's
whatever
meant
they
to
do
be.
will work.
It's meant to be the flagship. But the thing I find annoying is the fact that they've got that many hours, and they supposedly don't know what to do with it.
No, so just
But-
put it down to
Back
2.5.
True, but they
Yeah.
won't. But they won't do because because if I'm not mistaken, JBL actually pointed out
Oh, the revenue's
fact
amazing
about it why they will not get rid of it.
because the television revenue's unreal
Yeah, because television revenue
off adverts.
of adverts from the show, they won't get rid of it. So basically, a wrestling company has decided to push ad revenue over wrestling content.
I won't argue with that from a business standpoint.
Business standpoint, I agree with it. As a wrestling fan, I don't.
No, but you've got to look at it.
Business.
That advert revenue is making sure people like Noam Dar, Joseph Connors,
are getting paid.
Wolfgang are having a chance at being in the WWE system and being able to learn from some of the best in the world.
Apart from now, though, wasn't last week's Raw the worst rating?
No, it had the worst segment rating,
That's it.
which we shall not talk about because I've just picked up how far the women's division has come on. So we shall not speak about it. It never fucking happened.
What did you just mention?
I don't know. I think I mentioned episode Gladios.
Again?
Yeah, it was there.
It's a moment.
It was 15 minutes.
It's a
long.
moment. It's a moment. It's past. Let's just go. Let's just continue. But here's the thing. It's silly as I do find it silly. The fact that they've got 3 hours, they don't know what they're doing. But the revenue's great. It's great having the ad revenue, but the wrestlers aren't getting what they want. And also, by the time the main event comes round for Raw, people are either what's now or asleep, depending on where you are in the UK or in the world.
There's a bloke who I work with, and he watches Raw on his dinner break in 40 minutes. And he can watch 3 hours of Raw in 40 minutes.
Cut out most of the promos.
Oh no, he skips about an hour of adverts, and then he skips the segments he doesn't want to watch.
Then certain wrestlers, very, very long entrances.
It depends on who you're on about.
But no, so I think that's a good place to end, in all fairness.
I would say so.
So, as usual, there's some places to plug, so watch Botchamania, which is on YouTube.
As always, we do recommend Team 4 Star.
Yeah. Also, give our partners a nice shout out over at the UKWA or the UK Wrestle Fan Zone. Give both the pages a like.
One page I want to give a shout out recently is Coffee and Consoles.
What?
Coffee and Consoles.
I thought you said coffee and consoles.
No, Consoles and Coffee.
Okay.
My mistake, which is basically it's basically, if I'm not mistaken, one half of them is actually Filthy Woodvine. He's actually getting hyped up on coffee and doing some retro gaming. If I'm not mistaken, he's actually handing out pictures from the original Sonic, saying how much he hated a certain stage, and then suddenly got reminded on how much of a hated stage he must have missed by not getting past the stage, potentially.
No, so check them out.
So we do recommend you check them out, as always. But is there anything else you want to give a shout out to?
Wrestle Island.
Definitely give Wrestle Island a shout out to our usual partners, the UK Wrestle Fan Zone, also who are part of the UKWA. And we would like to also give another shout out, as always, to Changes for Healthy Minds.
Yeah.
As well.
So other than that, folks, stay safe, support your local wrestling, and if you are at Wrestle Island, come and say hello to us.
If you see us approach us, we're not meanies or anything.
We don't bite.
We are approachable. We are approachable.
Other than that, folks, have a good day.
Stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch you soon. Bye, folks.